Hello, and you're watching the History Fella channel. In today's video we're looking at James Butler Hickok. There were many famous names associated with the US Marshals, such as James Butler Hickok, also known as Wild Bill Hickok, who in 1865 was a deputy marshal at Fort Riley, Kansas. His fearsome reputation was coupled with his formidable appearance. He was over 6 foot tall and of large build, which stopped most drunks or troublemakers from upsetting him. He also had shoulder-length blonde hair and a moustache, and sometimes dressed as a river gambler. With a long black coat and fancy waistcoat that contrasted well with his hair and moustache, he also carried 2 ivory-handled pistols, a large Bowie knife, and a sawn-off shotgun, which ensured respect from the rowdiest of people. Hickok was always depicted in books at the time, and later on screen, as the epitome of a fearless lawman. But this was far from the truth. He had a tarnished reputation, which covered rustling, gambling, gunfighting, and murder. He was tried on several occasions for murder, but never convicted. He became an Army Scout in August 1861 and was involved in a number of spying missions for the Union Army. He was once again accused of murder in 1865, when in a shootout in the main street of Springfield, Missouri, he gunned down a gambler by the name of Davis K. Tutt. After a short trial, he was acquitted when it was decided that he'd acted in self-defense. Hickok was appointed a deputy U.S. Marshal at Fort Riley from 1867 to 1869, and then was City Marshal of Fort Hays for a brief period in 1869. He enforced a new ordinance against the carrying of weapons by patrolling the streets, wearing buckskins, and carrying his 2 pistols, his large Bowie knife, and his sawn-off shotgun. He presented an imposing and threatening figure as he patrolled the streets. There was a number of unsavoury incidents in which he was involved during this time, concerning shootouts in gambling halls, but during the last incident, 4 soldiers from the fort were killed. General Sheridan ordered his immediate arrest, but Hickok fled. In 1871, he turned up in Abilene, Kansas, and took up the post of City Marshal. His reputation had gone before him, and it is on record that on that very day he took office, he killed 2 men. He also came up against John Wesley Hardin during an argument in a card game, but such were their reputations that neither wanted to settle it with guns. One gunman, Phil Cole, who confronted Hickok in the street, suffered the consequences when he refused to hand over his gun and was shot dead. But during one frantic gun battle in the street, Hickok accidentally shot Deputy Marshal Mike Williams. It is not known whether or not the wound was fatal. Shortly afterwards, Hickok left Abilene and joined Buffalo Bill's Scout of the Plains show, which was touring the West at the time. But he left after a few months and returned to his old ways. In 1873, Hickok returned to Fort Hays as Marshal for a short time, before heading up to Deadwood during the Dakota Gold Rush period. On the 1st of August 1876, Hickok was playing cards in Nuttall and Mann's saloon in Deadwood when one of the players dropped out. Jack McCall, who had been drinking for most of the day and was drunk, took his place. McCall was very soon broke, and Hickok, feeling sorry for him, offered him for some money to get some food. McCall accepted the money, but felt he'd been cheated and insulted by the offer. The following evening, Hickok was once again at the card table, and his back was to the door. which was not his normal way of sitting when playing cards, as he almost always sat with his back against the wall. The saloon doors swung open, and an extremely drunk Jack McCall staggered in, pointed a single-action revolver at the back of Hickok's head, and pulled the trigger, shouting, "Damn you, take that!" Hickok died instantly. McCall then ran into the street and tried to steal a horse, but was so drunk he fell off. A search for McCall started, and he was found hiding in the back of a shop. During his trial, McCall claimed that he'd shot Hickok in revenge for the killing of his brother in Abilene, Kansas. McCall was later hanged for the murder of Wild Bill Hickok. Writers trying to glamorize the West for their readers exaggerated almost all of Wild Bill Hickok's exploits during his time as a lawman. The larger-than-life characters they created of real people created a lot of myths, although later historians would discover the truth.